Okay, here's a video to help anyone who's not familiar with UV, adjusting the UVs of your model, and I'll just explain to you what needs to be done. So as you can see, there's a whole bunch of cards. This is the rear of a swan, and that's supposed to be its tail. Okay, so first thing we want to do is just go into workspace. Let's change that to UV editing. So here we can see the UVs of each of those individual cards. Next we want to go under Windows and just go under Material and Hypershade, and we want to create go under Create Materials, and let's do a Phong. Double click on that to make sure you're on the right one. Go here by color, select File, and then click Open and assign your texture, in which case it's going to be a feather. So that's what this material is. So if I click on my mesh, my model, I right click on the material and I say assign, it's going to assign this material with a feather onto that mesh. I can close this now. So you can see there's the feather. But it's not actually, doesn't look correct. Okay, that's because the original model had individual feathers for each one of these cards, which means the texture was quite large and it had like, say, 50 different feathers for each one of these cards, and I'm trying to optimize this for mobile gaming, so I want to use one texture for all the cards. So this is a nice little workaround. Okay, so what you can do is either in your viewport or here in the UV editor, you can right click and say vertex, select all the vertices, then under UV toolkit you say stack and orientate. Okay, it's going to place them all on top of each other. Let's give it a moment. Now what we want to do, you can see it's obviously not stacked or perfectly. Just select all the vertices in the top left, and we horizontally and vertically align them. So first this one, and then that one. Okay, and we do the same for the middle vertice, and we do it for the right vertice, and the same for the bottom, middle. So what I'm doing is I'm placing all those cards on top of each other, because then I only have to do the work once. Put them all on top of each other, place it over that feather, press R to scale it up. Let's just do the height first, get a good workable height there, and then we do the width. Okay, so I created this feather texture from the original texture, and I've cropped it down into a smaller size. So not only am I just using one feather, but the texture itself is just much smaller. Okay, so I'm utilizing more of that texture space. I can get a higher resolution feather now. Instead of having lots of feathers crammed into one texture, I have one large one. It doesn't look so great here. It's just my preview. So if I come here and show you, that's what the texture actually looks like. Far more detail. Alright, so now if we go back to object mode, you can see that's looking much better now. The feathers are showing up more or less correct. It's got this hazy effect on it, but that's just the preview. If we go back to vertice, and if I select this vertice over here, because this is the one that looks a little bit out of place, I'm not going to move it in the viewport because that's going to move the model. I'm going to do it on the UVs. And if I move it in the UVs and just pull it that way, you can see that I'm actually tucking that in. And I'm going to do the same thing. Okay, see what I'm doing there? Just going to tuck it in. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. But make sure you do it in the UV editor. And I can actually place it perfectly right on top of the other one. So they're identical. Alright, go back to object mode, and we're done. And that same feather that I'm using for the tail now is the same feather texture that I'm using for each one of these cards on the wings. And that's just a great, easy way to optimize your model for gaming. Alright, hope this helps. Take care.